Katie Watson there. Now, cricket flour pizza, grasshopper stir-fry, buffalo worm fried rice. Well, for many in the Western world, just hearing the names of those dishes is enough to make us say no. That's in spite of evidence that food containing creepy crawlies offers a more sustainable, healthy way of consuming animal protein than conventional meat sources. Now, a new study published in the Frontiers in Nutrition journal has found more of us would be tempted to eat insects if they were marketed as tasty, luxurious delicacies. So, joining me in the studio to talk about this is Eddie Stableford, who's a food branding expert, Sebb Holmes, the head chef and director of London restaurant Farang, and also as our business expert and our taster today, because I'm veggie, Aaron Heslehurst is here with us too. So, you're all here. Let's talk first, Sebby, about the fact that you're cooking and you've brought in insect food. What kind of things are you making?
So we make lots, really, but we've got a few interesting bits today. It's a shame you can't try any because you're a vegetarian, right? But
yeah, Aaron will make up for it.
Some tasty sweets for you later. But so we make everything that, ranging from flours, sugars, purees out of the insects to get their flavour, and then that kind of helps to then incorporate it into like more mainstream things like brownies.
So you're not just talking about like stir-fried grasshoppers. Here it is, have a go.
Yeah, it goes in a couple of different ways. So when we get people in for a pop-up, we do it with Grub. We fill Farang, our restaurant in Islington. There's about 70 people in there. So we come in, it's group sharing, so everyone kind of gets involved and gets stuck in. And we do 7-course meals, ranging from things that are really in your face, like the actual insects themselves, which I didn't actually bring them in today. And then there's miang, which is a mix here of it's using the insects as a puree with lots of fresh fruit that we foraged ourselves, served in a leaf, so it's quite complex. And then obviously down to a brownie where you're just using the cricket flour. But they're really, really interesting to use. It's one of the only proteins in the world, I'd say, that you can use as a sweet and as a savoury.
So just very versatile. I'm going to say to Aaron, what are you going to be trying first, Aaron? Do you want this dish with the fruits?
Yeah.
Do you want the brownie?
that looks a little bit much to start with.
It needs to be plated, yeah. I'd start with the
Start with a bit of brownie.
Sorry, what's in the brownie?
I'll plate this as you'll eat it.
What's in the brownie?
So the brownie, it's a raspberry and milk chocolate brownie with the cricket flour instead of
Cricket flour. No, you can't go wrong with a bit of cricket flour.
So gram for gram, crickets are about 70% in protein as compared to steak. It's about 20 to 30%.
So this is a lot better for you than eating steak.
Oh, why don't you try something?
Okay. You know, I don't want to take any away from you. I am going to say to Eddie, I mean, look at something like that. Is it, with your marketing head on, you know, do you think this is something that we could make into a trend?
Very much so. I mean, I think the demand on world nutrition is going to increase inevitably, and change in eating habits.
Yeah, we know that it's healthy. We know that it's good, don't we? And I suppose your kind of challenge would be, but how do you get people to think, yes, let's go for it?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think what Aaron's doing is interesting, the way he's responded to it. What Seb's doing in terms of the restaurant is looking at the way it can be used as an ingredient, and I think that's almost the near future in the way I see it in terms of consumers, that we become more familiar with it becoming an ingredient in foods that we eat.
Maybe consumers need to see people like Aaron having a go.
Yeah, what sort of demographic? You know, is the millennials coming in and eating this? I mean,
it's millennial. To be honest, every time we serve it to children, they just find it easy. It's not a problem at all. It's a preconception that adults have. I find it difficult the first time. It's putting it in your mouth is a little bit strange, but as soon as you get over it, as a chef, it's just become 2,000 new ingredients.
Do you tell the children? This has got grasshopper.
Yeah, so we made these brownies for 250 kids at the British History Museum recently at a dino camp over, I think. Right, so they stayed over.
Did they go down well with the kids?
They loved it. They had double the amount. They absolutely loved it. So they're willing to get stuck in, you know. And my mum found it quite tricky when she came to the first pop-up. So we're doing kind of high-end Thai food with insects as the protein, just to prove that you can use them quite easily, incorporate them easily. And she found it a bit tricky, but she loves it now. She's
and actually, the kind of serious side of it, you were saying, there's a lot of protein in insects, but also in terms of impact on the world and the environment. If, me included, if we all ate insects rather than chicken and pork and beef,
Yeah, well, so there's one statistic that if everyone had one insect dish a week, it would save 3,000 litres of water.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
3,000 litres of water?
Yeah, one dish a week.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, for every pound of beefsteak, it's 5 litres of water to create that 1 pound.
And Eddie, in terms of saying to people, think about your conscience as well as your palate,
Yeah.
does it work?
It does work, but I think in any sector with any food or anything in the world, there's what we call the early adopters. There will be people who will be there first, and they tend to be vocal, as vegans have been in recent years, really.
That's a really good example, Aaron. It's about the early adoption, isn't it? Yeah.
And then from that, a trend develops and more people take it on board. And I think the whole idea that you might have a high-protein flour, for example, that you might use in a shake instead of whey protein, or you might use it to make a brownie, as Sebb has done, are really good examples of how that might happen. I mean, cochineal, for example, which comes from a South American beetle, a tiny beetle that lives on cactus plants. We've been consuming that as a food colouring for probably about 100 years. And nobody bats an eyelid or bats a bat even.
It's just what Sebb was saying. If you get kids to try these out, they don't have a conceptual problem with it.
Yeah.
And then, Aaron, I suppose it's also about this. If you get to that tipping point from, oh, I don't know, too risky, to I want to be seen to be the first with the trend.
But I think getting grassroots, right? Starting with the kids, and if they can then continue growing up, consuming.
Well, so I think it kind of going with your study, which is great, by the way. I was reading it last night. They are delicious. It's not even. It's not an upsell saying they're just good for the environment. Like whey protein. Have you ever eaten a bar using that? It kind of tastes like chewing on a paracetamol.
Really hard, very dry, chalky.
Yeah. But with that, it's like a flapjack. It's still so it has the same amount of protein, but the mouth.
I can tell a difference, though. I'll admit.
Do you want? Oh, you haven't tried it at all.
No, don't you start serving.
This one you like.
This one's ready for you.
Just have a look at this one. Remind us what this one is
So
again,
this
Eddie.
it's called miang, which translates as one bite wrap in Thailand. Traditionally, it's served with dried shrimp, but instead we're using buffalo worms because they got the
Buffalo
same
worms?
Yeah, it's in the paste. You can't see it. Just taste it.
Philippa, you're having a ball, aren't you? You can't taste it, really?
You can't. No, you can taste it, but it's delicious.
Is it delicious?
It's
delicious.
an adventurous man. Okay, you're going.
We've got some foraged blackberries from Oxfordshire that my chef's picked for us.
How are you finding the buffalo worms?
Sweet, salty, sour, spicy.
You love some
It's very spicy.
It's got a little bit of bird's eye chilli. I should have said that.
I can't really taste it.
All right, I think we are actually drawing to a close on the idea that, there we are, we've seen the experiment, we've worked out why this is a good thing. We know that you run full tasting menus with insect ingredients, and so Eddie, Sebby, Aaron, thank you.